So, welcome back, continuing our discussion in the pictorial sense that how you combine the different type of forward and options. So, in the last class we have seen that you have been able to combine the forward and the option in such a way that your main motivation was that the prices are on a decreasing trend and you want to reduce the price. So, let us now consider the other way around. Now, those were all long forwards. Now, you have basically a short forward and the prices are an increasing trend. So, just concentrate on this pure short forward. So, in the case this is ST, I have not marked in the graphs, but definitely we all know this is ST, and along the y axis we have the profits, cumulative profit or the net profit. So, if you consider the price of ST is greater than x1, obviously there is a loss. So, the more the ST price is more than x1, obviously the loss increases. So, this is the overall loss which you have, it continues. Now, your main question is that if they are on upward trend and we want to combine a short forward with an option, how would we do such that the overall is reduced pictorially again. So, let us see how it is done. Now, you combine a short forward position along with the long call option. So, initially it was a short forward where the prices were on an increasing trend, you would have faced a loss. Now, you combine with a long call option. So, the bigger hashed lines, the red one which I am now marking is basically the initial position, a short forward. Now, you have the small dotted one which you have marked is basically the long call option, and once you combine, then the blue one which you see is the combined loss. So, initially loss was A, and considering it is going towards B some point obviously, and C. So, the graph was basically expanding triangle which is ABC. Now, what we have been able to do is that we have been able to reduce the loss by A. Consider the point A is the same thing, or let us to be more explicit, consider the overall loss as A1, then B1, and it continues. So, say for example, C1 is somewhere down the line. So, if you see the overall loss with respect to the other diagram, it has definitely reduced considering that the prices are an increasing trend. So, now what you have done for increasing trend price, initially we had a short forward position, now you have basically combined with a long call option. Next diagram, again the same thing. We have a short forward position thinking again the bullet points I am just mentioning. You think that the prices are on an upward trend, you basically combine with the short option. So, now you are basically put option. So, initially it was a call, now it is a put. So, you want to reduce these overall risks, again this is the increasing triangle which I have already shown. It keeps increasing and the overall loss increases as ST which is here along the x axis keeps increasing more than x1. Combine that short forward with the short put position, what do you have? You combine this is the short put position. As you combine, you see the overall loss which was this triangle has now been reduced to this triangle. So, obviously, it seems that obviously the loss is definitely there, but you have been able to combine and reduce the loss to a maximum possible extent, that initially the short forward has been combined with basically the call and the put, or with different combination of that, such that in the long run the overall position does give you a picture that the overall risk is reduced to a maximum possible extent. So, now initially we had considered two examples where the prices you think if they went on a downward trend you face a loss, then you consider where the prices were going an upward trend you face a loss, and then you saw that how combining different type of forwards along with the option pictorially we can reduce the overall risk. So, obviously, if this pictorially is true, you can make very simple and nice matrices to understand how this works. Trading strategies involving two options. So, we will consider the following. Again, we may have done it, but now I am again repeating, please follow the diagrams explicitly such that it will make things much clearer for you. So, if you are able to understand the diagrams at the first go, immediately solve the problem using the matrices. But I will strongly urge that understand the pictorial one first, and then for any new examples which you are taking up, follow the other route. First make it in a matrix and then make the diagram, because if you basically make all the matrices very explicitly and very simple in Excel sheet, then using the first column which is the domain of ST and the last column would be the cumulative profit, net profit, using these two columns you can make the diagrams for the payoff matrix for different combinations of forward, options and so on and so forth, very easy. So, as continuing we consider the following thing. Initially the person sells or buys an option, can be either a put or a call, and then for reasons can be either due to an upward trend or a downward trend of the prices, he or she would like to minimize the overall loss or the reduce the risk. So, here we are changing the notion. Initially, if you remember, we use x as a strike price, but now we will use two different variables or two different symbols, where x is the lowest strike price, y is the highest strike price, some premiums is paid obtained for each option, and now we will consider that if it is a put option, we will consider the price is as small p, it is a call option, we will consider the price as small c. We are not going to consider, again I am repeating, we are not going to consider any American options, all would be European one. It is important to remember the following. For a call option, we need to take the action when you speculate the price ST would rise, that is the price is in an upward trend, as the main concern is to highlight how to reduce the loss or the risk. Hence, we consider examples where we first start with a short call and then add another combination option to reduce the risk. Now, when you come to the put option, for a put option we need to take action when we speculate the prices are on a following trend or a decreasing trend. As our main concern is to highlight how to reduce the loss and risk, hence we consider examples where we first start with a short put and basically combine it accordingly. So, in both the cases where is a call option, we think the prices would be on an increasing trend, and the second case of the put, we think it would be on a decreasing trend. So, now consider here, we have a short call is combined with a long call. So, if you consider only this diagram as being shown, you have basically a short call and the overall loss is the hashed one which is shown here. So, obviously, it will be a triangle A, B somewhere there, C somewhere there, that is an increasing triangle. So, now the price is given as Y, remember that. So, there are now 2 or 3 or 4 different type of strike prices depending on how the problem has been formulated. So, the pink line area which shows is the loss which has to be reduced. Now, you combine that with the short call position has been combined with the long call position, but remember that the prices was different. Initially, it was X for one short call option, now for a long call option the price is basically delivery price is X is lower, remember that it is lower, it need not be higher. If it is higher, obviously the diagram would change. So, with the short call option we combine a long call option, lower delivery price, and the cumulative payoff bold blue line is shown. So, if you see, the overall loss initially was this triangle, now the overall loss is basically the hashed lines, which rather than a loss is a profit. So, this is just a notional concept. It could have been on the lower side also, this blue could have been on the lower side also, but be rest assured the overall loss would definitely be reduced the moment you combine a short call option with a long call option, but remember the long call option would basically have a lower delivery price, which is X, and we will always consider X is less than Y. Now, you have basically a short call option, and considering the prices will be on an upward trend, again the same thing we have considered here. Again, remember here there is a subtle difference. In the initial case or the first problem we considered that the strike price was Y, but now we are considering the strike price is X. So, we will combine in this way very simply. First, we will have basically an option where the delivery price was higher, and we will try to combine with an option later on where the delivery price is lower. In the next instance, we will switch it in the sense that we have some option when the delivery price is whatever it is, but now we will combine with an option when the delivery price is higher. Only to make our understanding very simple, we have always considered Y is greater than X. Hence, we will say that the delivery price, if it is lower, we will always denote it by X. If the delivery price is higher, we will always denote by Y. So, here it is what is being shown. This is the loss which is to be reduced, and the overall loss is basically given this triangle A, B, somewhere C. So, this A and B and C I am just denoting in order to make you understand. So, initially we had a short call option only, and the risk is as shown considering prices will generally be on an upward trend. Now, we combine that with the long call option, but remember this, these highlighted points are important, the delivery price is higher, which is Y. So, initially if you see that your overall loss was this, now combine that we have been able to reduce the overall loss to a maximum possible extent, because if you go more down the line where ST keeps increasing, the overall loss in the first instance expands, but now we have been able to basically keep it within the band such that the loss would be reduced to the maximum possible extent. Now, again a short call is combined with a short put. Initially again we will consider the loss as shown in the pink one, and remember the strike price is Y, which means that now it should give you a hint that we will now combine with the short put where the actual price of the second one option would be x would be less than y, because y is always as per the assumption. If you remember in the first slide which you mentioned before we started discussing, we said that y was greater than x. So, initially we have a short call option only and the risk is as shown, considering prices will generally be on upward trend. We have basically the risk as given A, B some point down the line, C some point down the line. Combined with the short put option, but now lower the daily price. So, that means it will be x. So, initially it was y, now it is x. Remember again, I am again repeating it, y is greater than x, and when you combine it, the cumulative profit is known as a bold blue line. And if you see, the overall loss was this, now the loss has been reduced. So, what you should understand, the x and y are just a notional concept in order to make you understand whether when you are trying to combine an option with a lower delivery price or a higher delivery price, point number 1. Point number 2, the P's and C's which you have combined, that is the P or the C or the put and the call values, they have been taken arbitrarily. So, if you see, the big hashed ones could have been here also, or the big hash ones could be here also. So, that means the depending on where P and C are, your overall bold blue line which is being shown here as the cumulative payoff would change its position. But intrinsically, if you draw it with the initial position, you will definitely see there is a reduction in the overall loss, if you see from the pictorial point of view, and obviously that may not be very evident when you draw the matrix. So, that is why I am saying that when you draw the matrix and then draw the diagram, things would be much more clearer to you. Initially, we have a short call option only and the risk is as shown, considering prices would be again on an upward trend. So, this is the overall loss. Consider this is A, this is B somewhere point, C this somewhere point, it expands as ST is greater than equal to X. X is again, remember, the lower price. Combined with a short put option, that means short call option has been combined with a short put option with a higher delivery price, and the higher delivery price is Y. So, and the cumulative profit is shown by the bold blue lines. So, initially again same thing, P and C can be any positions, I do not know, I have just drawn it arbitrarily. So, this was the initial loss A, B, C. Now, the overall loss would be some A 1, B and C. That means, you are able to reduce the loss to a possible extent. Now, we consider the short put is combined with the short call. Initially, we have a short put and considering the prices. So, now they are basically, initially we consider higher and lower movement considering the initially the forwards. Then we combine the options. Now, we start itself by option and then combine another option. So, only that those they are a call and put and the delivery prices have been marked in such a way that they are x and y, where y is greater than x. So, if we consider they are on a downward trend. So, this is the overall loss which you have faced or you would face. So, consider these points are A, B, C, this y is the delivery price for a price where it will always on the higher side. Combine that with the short call option with the lower delivery price which is x. So, your overall now risk has been reduced to A, B 1, C 1. So, overall loss initially was this triangle which was A, B, C. Now, it is being reduced to A, B 1, C 1, which is definitely true. That means, thinking that they are on a downward trend. Again, different combinations of short put with the short call. It is on a downward trend. Overall loss is given by this pinked area which is A, B, C. This is A, this is B, this is C. And you are considering x is the delivery price. Now, we will combine that with the short call option with the higher delivery price. So, what we are doing is, if you notice, we are combining different calls and puts, but considering the put position delivery price is lower in first instance, then in the next instance is higher and vice versa. So, we are trying to take different combinations of put and call and trying to see that whatever you do, thinking very rationally and combining them considering different values of x and y would definitely give you a reduced loss. So, now the overall loss has again been reduced considering delivery price is y. It was basically A, B, C. Now, it is basically A, B 1 and C 1. And again remember, I am repeating it, but please bear with me that the value of P and C, which is the call price and the put price, would be dictated depending on what type of option you buy. So, these are just pictorial one in order to make you understand that how pictorially the overall risk reduces. So, again the same thing, I am continuing the same thing with different combinations. So, you have a short put option and you think this is a downward trend. So, this is the overall loss, again A, B, C would this area triangle, then you combine with a long put option, but with lower delivery price. So, now you will see the overall risk which was this triangle may have has been reduced. I mean, now you may be thinking that it does not look to be reduction. So, what I am thinking, I am saying is that the person initially thought that it was on more going to be on a downward trend. So, if you think considering the downward trend which is in this area, obviously you will see this area is less than this triangle. So, in the general sense for a downward trend you definitely see a reduction in the loss. So, again remember with repetition I am saying x is less than y, and this x and y are basically the delivery price of different type of options which you have, whether a put or a call, whether it is on a long position or a short position. Short put position on a downward trend, the loss is given, x is the delivery price. So, you basically combine with a long put position where the delivery price is higher. Initially you had basically the triangle as the loss, now it is basically the rectangle one, obviously the loss increases, but remember again one thing, that our main concern was on a downward trend. So, if the downward trend is true, then obviously you will see the loss which is given by the bold blue lines is less than the case when you had basically the triangle one. Now, we will consider the different combinations of calendar spreads, diagonal spreads, straddles, straps and strangles. So, I will urge the students to basically read the book in such a way that once the overall combinations of forward and option, different type of options, put and call are is available to them, they understand conceptually. That means first draw the matrix, then draw the diagram, or then first draw the diagram and then understand the matrix, then combining them in a very simple fashion would definitely give you a much better idea that how the loss is reduced considering different combinations. The prices are on downward trend, prices on an upward trend, prices would be fluctuating between these two bands, so on and so forth. So, you can combine a forward or an options or a call option, a put option, a long call, a short call, a long put, short put in different combinations. But remember the fact that we will always consider the European option, point number 1. We will also understand that the delivery price obviously are same, but we will consider that the delivery price, the time should be same, the delivery price of x, y, k1, k2, k3 should be done in such a way that the overall loss is reduced in the diagrams which we saw. So, you have a call option with a strike price of 50, costs 2. So, this is basically the call option. So, this is the value of small c, the strike price is given and a put option is combined with a strike price of 45 and a price p of 3. So, explain how a triangle can be created. So, basically you know that where 50 and where 45 would be. So, if this is say for example x1 and this is say for example x2. So, you can place it along a particular line and draw them using any matrices. Matrices means what I am talking about is using a Excel sheet and then draw the diagram. Suppose in the next example you have a put options, these are put options with strike prices 30 and 35 and P1, P2 which is the put prices are given at 4 and 7. How can the option be used to create a bold spread, a beard spread, construct tables accordingly and draw it accordingly. Now, we will start off the simple concept of binomial trees. So, we will cover and discuss very briefly one step binomial tree, the risk neutral valuation and the two step binomial tree and how you proceed to do the calculations accordingly. Now, consider the simple example. You have a stock price which can either move up and down. So, what I mean now by a binomial tree is basically there are two arms. It can be multinomial also depending on how the prices are fluctuating. So, we will consider S0 as the spot price and the price increase and decrease is given by the value of p and 1 minus p. This is the corresponding probability. So, if you had basically the multinomial tree, so this would be the S0 and they would be different arms depending on what you think are the fluctuation in the price. So, the probabilities will be given by P1, P2, so on and so forth till Pn if they have Pn number of arms. Remember this P need not be confused with the price of the put option, these P's are the probabilities. So, we have the probabilities P in one arm, 1 minus P in another arm. Say for example, you are tossing a coin. In the first instance, if the head comes, the price increases by 45 rupees, if the tail comes, the price decreases by 45 rupees. Say for example, in that case P would be half, similarly 1 minus P would be half. So, now what you have in the instant is that as of now today the price S0 is 20, and at some instant price the upward trend and a downward trend considering price probability of P and 1 minus P, it increases to 22 in one instant and it falls from 20 to 18. So, what we are going to consider is the fact that if the prices are given, how we will basically able to find out the prices of the stocks as that the overall pricing of the options can be done. So, I will explain it bit in steps in the later class, but with this I will close this lecture, but again I recapitulate what we want to do is that we will consider the simple binomial tree concept in order to understand how the price fluctuation can be done in order to find out how the options pricing can be done in a very logical and systematic manner. Thank you.